sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old-style beers out at the game. Let's go, Cubby Sunrento.
Michael Cotton.
Sunrento.
Michael Cotton.
Sunrento and the lovable Lucy.
Lucho Scali.
Sunrento.
Michael.
Sunrento.
Cotton.
Sunrento and the lovable Lucy.
Michael Cotton.
Sunrento.
Lucho Scali.
You know what? I'm just going to break down and pay for the voice lessons. It's just really not worth it.
For 49 seconds. I don't know if I pulled it off.
Who are you, John Vincent? Welcome to the Sunranto Show. We're going to get right going with this. My name's Danny Rockett. You just heard the voice of Michael Cotton. He's our poet laureate. And back on the show tonight is Crawley, here to gloat about his Wilson Contreras Cardinals predictions. We've got some footage of him basically telling everybody exactly what was going to happen. And I invited him. He wanted to come on and gloat.
Come on.
And Carrie Bronnermeyer is pointing out in the chat that, yes, indeed, I am the birthday boy. Today is my birthday. And to celebrate with our 115 Patreon supporters, we're going to be over in the Discord later on tonight. We're going to be watching the game in about an hour, a little over an hour. We'll have that for everybody. We're all going to hang out, watch the game. I'm going to order a pizza and hang out with everybody. So come on over. If you haven't joined Patreon yet, it's patreon.com/Sunranto. It's only $1. And you get all these sort of special perks. But
I love it. 21st century pizza party.
Yeah,
everybody just get their own pizza. We're not even near each other, but we're going to be together to watch the game.
It's the way the pizza cartel wants it. So hashtag Chance in the chat if you want to win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. I might even make it special this time because it is my birthday. And but first, I want to bring onto the show the only person I know it's my birthday, but technically I did nothing. I laid around, I cried, I got hit by a doctor, like I did nothing. The only person that did any actual real work on this day was my mother, Marilyn Robbins. So I wanted to invite her on the show to talk a little bit of baseball and to thank her for giving me life. Hey, Mom.
Hey, hi. Hi, everyone.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Loved your song there. Was it Michael that was singing?
Oh God, no. It was in tune. So it was definitely your son. It
wasn't in tune. It wasn't before you guys all started doing the singing together. But it was interesting, I have to say that. And all of you know who are listening that it is Danny's birthday today. And the Danny that you know today is the same Danny who he was when today he's 49, but when he was 9 months or 9 years, it was the same Danny who was always creative, always laughing, always being a networker. And just 2 examples of that are that he was 9 months old and he's sitting in the high chair and he takes his toast and he makes figures out of it. You know, I'd say, what is that? Oh, this is a car, or this is a truck, or whatever. So we'd always get a kick out of that. And then later on at about 2, we're going down the highway and we were in a traffic jam. So he looks out the window and he invites the people next to us. He says, hey, you want to come over for coffee? Strangers, but it was his networking spirit. And I know, he loves all of you, but he just loves to talk with you and with everybody on this program. And as you probably know, our family has been coming to Wrigley Field for a long time. We were there, as I recall, for when Kerry Woods had that was a 20 strikeout.
Well, I wasn't there. You were there. You,
I know I was there. You weren't there?
I was not there because I was already gone in New York. You were there with Dad because you went for his birthday.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was already gone, but that was towards the end of like the last few years of Dad's life. But no, unfortunately, I missed that. But you got to see that. Like Carly, I don't know if you knew that because we always joke that everybody, because there was only about 15,000 people in the crowd that day.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody claims to have been there, including you. So just so you know,
No,
Crawley's very skeptical about this claim.
I was there.
If Marilyn says it, I believe it. And not only that, I will tell you this, Marilyn, we got to see where Danny got some of his creativity from. We saw a video of you up playing the Lowry organ. John Benedict, the organist, let you play a few bars, and I think you may be able to knock one of those youngins out for a job or something.
Can I play the tape? I've got the tape, so I'm gonna go to it. Mama, here's my mom on the Lowry organ.
And that's what I did.
We couldn't hear you while the video's playing. You were muted, Mom. So you can repeat what you were just saying. Was that the thrill of a lifetime?
Well, people keep saying, was that on your bucket list? And no, it's not. It was not on my bucket list, but it was thrilling to be able to do that, even if it was after the game. It was still in Wrigley Field, right? So
yeah.
I love how you qualify it. You're like, well, it was after the game. I would have rather been in front of 35,000 screaming fans, but I'll take a bunch of drunks leaving the ballpark.
I just assumed that was a tryout, and now your name is on a list in case one of those guys, like, I don't know, gets sick. You can be down there in 20 minutes to play for the game.
Well, I do have a question. Go ahead, Mom.
No, I was going to say maybe if I was 40 years younger, that would be fun to do, to play the Wrigley Field organ.
Well, Mom, it would have been a real heck of a job for you to have. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
That would have been nice. But I do have a question though. I know you grew up playing baseball with your brothers, and you always enjoyed the sport, but you grew up a Sox fan because your father was a Sox fan, and you would go down to Old Comiskey Park. And I just have to show everybody this footage real quick of my mother, who spent a good 10, 12 years as a nun, in full habit playing baseball. So check this out. Now there's no sound on this, so we are not muted, but there you are. You got a pretty good arm, Mom. Like, look at that. You're launching it. It's kind of grainy, but now you're playing with Uncle Doc there, or is that Bill?
I think that's Doc.
Okay. Yeah. But, there you are. What are you, 18, 19, 20 years old there?
No, I was already teaching there. And we just happened to have some property, right around there where we
Well, it makes sense. I mean, those were White Sox colors. Like, I feel like you were
the black and white
game.
Yeah. And I think she had a better arm than Juan Pierre, who played for both the Cubs and the Sox.
No, my dad, he was on a softball team at a tavern, and all of the guys at the tavern were Sox fans. And so our whole household was just so excited when they were in contention, and we'd listen to the radio, and I would take my brothers. I have 4 brothers, and I would take them on Ladies' Day because it was cheaper that day. And we'd take the 2 buses, down past the stockyards and just enjoy the trip. And we'd go to Sox Park all the way from where we lived on the northwest side. So, yes, we were very avid Sox fans at the time, but only because of my dad. And then, we've lived away for a while, away from Illinois. So we became Detroit fans, and then not so much in Virginia. There wasn't much going on when we lived there.
I had an Orioles hat for some reason.
Yeah, I
Right.
guess we went to a couple Orioles games, but not that many. So anyway, the only thing I'd have to say, I mean, those are all good things, but I just wonder sometimes why, when we sing the national anthem, that it used to be fun for everybody to sing that along with whoever was leading the song. And now everybody looks at it as a solo. And I'm listening to those words about the rockets' red glare and the bombs bursting in the air and all that. And I asked myself the question, how come, why don't we just sing America the Beautiful and everybody join in, and like we do when we sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game or at the end of the game, for Go Cubs Go.
I
That,
like both those ideas of
Yes.
yeah,
singing together and changing the anthem to something less warlike.
See, and I think that's kind of the thing is like the national anthem's a hard song to sing. Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I mean,
yeah.
they keep showing us every game. You don't have to be a good singer to do that one.
And my understanding was there was a push after Ray Charles died, because Ray Charles had the America the Beautiful that so many people really enjoyed, to have that be the national anthem, because Francis Scott Key was British.
Yeah.
And so why not have an American song as
You're
the
right.
national anthem?
And the melody's an English drinking song. And it kind of sounds like it if you sing it that way. Oh, say, can you see I am drunk at a bar? And it works.
Well, hardly anybody gets all the notes of that either, because it does have a big range to it.
Like Michael said, it's hard to sing,
Yeah. But anyway, that's just one thing that I think could be a little bit better. And then, of course, the prices of everything now, and as far as the drinks and food.
What did you pay for a hot dog? You bought a hot dog the other day at Wrigley. What was it? It was like $10.
It was very expensive, but I don't remember the exact price of it. And then I see people walking around with those big bats full of beer, and I understand those are $13. Is that
No,
what?
13.
30.
30.
30.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
You could have brought your brothers to the game, bought them all beer bats at Old Comiskey back in 1956. You could,
Yeah.
I mean, what could you have done for $30 in 1956? You could have probably paid the rent, gone grocery shopping.
Well, we did get Ladies' Day was only a quarter to get in.
Wow.
Excuse me, at that time. And yet we always enjoyed it. And I don't know. I'm glad that I had that experience with the White Sox and my family. And now, our family has had the experience with the Cubs. And when we lived in Michigan, Detroit was way up there in the standings. And my husband and I went to a lot of games there too. So
Yeah, he was a big fan, and you were a big fan, and you instilled the love of the game in me. And now we have this show, and all these people watch it, and we hang out, and people say hi to us at the game and stuff. Now it's really crazy how the family and community that we've been able to create. And then I just have to thank you for on my birthday, because as I said, I didn't do anything. It was all your efforts that day, not mine. And I just appreciate all that you've given me to be able to, have my life full of baseball and friends.
what a dear son you are, Danny, and my only son, because many of you know he has
thank God.
He has two sisters, and it's a nice variety, different personalities. So yeah, you're fun to be with, and we've had little skirmishes with you as you were growing up, but
We don't have to get into those on the show.
we won't.
So,
Today's your birthday. No way.
also, the other reason I wanted to bring you on today is because Sunday is Mother's Day, and somebody who's known as Facebook user right now, you have to change your permissions if you want to not be Facebook user. But they say Happy Mother's Day, and to you and to all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. I know that a lot of our love of baseball comes from both our fathers and our mothers, and it's a generational love. So happy Mother's Day.
Well, thank you. And thanks to all of you for bringing joy to the people that you're talking to now. So good luck with the program, and thanks for having me on, honey.
Okay. Love you, Mom. Bye.
Okay, love you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for coming on.
It's not only the musical talent that makes me know she's your mom, but also the fact she said she only wanted to go 5 minutes and went 16. So
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say something about that too.
It's really marvelous.
you can tell you're related, man.
Yeah. No, you absolutely can.
Now, she was talking about cheap beers. I don't know if you guys watched Marquee last night, but the Tennessee Smokies played, and they have this thing. It's called Free Beer Night. And you go to the game, and they give you a mason jar, which I started getting nervous hearing that just right there. Like, you're giving people glass and free beer. So the way that this promotion works in Tennessee is that you get free beer every inning until the opposition scores. And so it's absolutely crazy because every time you get that third out and nobody scores, the place goes nuts. Just like it's the greatest thing, like they won the pennant. And then when the guy finally scored last night in the 5th inning, everybody is booing him like he just was, hit Game 7 World Series home run walk-off or something for the opposing team. So I thought free beer, that's pretty close to 13 cents.
Okay, so when the other team does not score, everybody gets up and runs back to get beer.
Yes.
So nobody's watching the game when the Smokies are hitting.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody has seen the Smokies bat after a shutout inning all year long.
I'm telling you, I saw that and I'm like, I got to go there sometime for that. That's got to be amazing.
Well, I would like to add somebody else to the conversation if she's ready. It's my co-host over on the Cup of Cubby Blue podcast, part of the Bleacher Bunch Network. It's Sarah Sanchez. Welcome, Sarah. I wanted both you and Crawley on this show to talk about Wilson Contreras' revenge tour to Wrigley Field, where he single-handedly won a baseball game against the Chicago Cubs on Monday night, being involved in all 3 runs scored. Also, and you're the biggest Wilson Contreras fan on the planet. This is a well-known fact by anybody that follows you. And I also wanted to have Crawley on because he's Crawley Stradamus, basically called it exactly how it was going to go in St. Louis. We all saw the news that he was demoted as catcher. But I'll start by playing the last video you showed me, right? You sent me. That's the one you wanted me to play. Okay, here we go.
Wilson is the best offensive catcher. I still believe that we were talking about Dexter Fowler in the first segment. You saw what a disaster that was in St. Louis. They didn't like what he did. They didn't think it was the Cardinal way. And I see Wilson Contreras falling into that same trap. Not only that, he has to follow the footsteps of Yadi Molina, who Cardinal fans think is a first ballot Hall of Famer, walked on water catcher. He's none of those things, by the way.
And where's the statue? Will that be ready for opening day?
Exactly. So I'm just saying to have to follow that up. And you and I, we on an earlier podcast, we talked about the numbers when Wilson was behind the plate, and every Cubs pitcher other than Marcus Stroman was worse when Wilson was calling the game compared to Yan Gomes. I think that is going to be the biggest story in St. Louis, and they're going to sit there and piss and moan about it. And Wilson is a guy that listens. That Wilson listens to what the media says. He blocks people on Twitter. He would get in arguments. He got in arguments, I remember, with Dave Kaplan. I mean, he sits there and he takes these things personal. I don't think he's going to be happy in St. Louis. I think that he should have gone to Houston. I think career-wise, it's going to be a huge mistake for Wilson going to St. Louis. Again, they did address a backstop, and offensively they did get that, but defensively is where they're going to hurt and pitch calling. And so that is something to kind of watch it.
Okay, so there's that aspect of that. Wilson is now currently, first of all, that's pretty much spot on. What ended up happening is that he went to St. Louis, and it's not going well for him so far. But I think and Sarah and I talked about this on Cup of Cubby Blue, and I'm interested in what Crawley and Michaels think about it because Sarah and I already talked about it. He's just the fall guy right now.
Oh yeah.
And
can I just hold on?
Okay,
I've been
ahead.
invoked, and I'm gonna say some things. Like
No problem.
Wilson Contreras is not the world's greatest defensive catcher, and also the only people who believe this narrative coming out of like it's all the defense and it's just like the worst thing that's ever happened are Cubs fans. I have Cardinals fans DMing me every day that are like, Wilson is a scapegoat. Our front office is absolutely a disaster. This is a PR nightmare. We have bad pitching. We can't believe they're doing this to Wilson. This is awful. We're so sorry the Cardinals suck. Those are Cardinals fans. Go read the story about this that was like the front page of BEB a week ago or whenever it happened, like earlier this week. They were all just like, this is ridiculous. Wilson couldn't possibly fix this pitching staff if he tried. Why didn't the front office do something that they were supposed to do? The national media and the fantasy baseball community, same thing. They're just like, there's no stat in catching that Wilson Contreras could possibly impact this team to the level they are trying to make it apparent that it's his fault or whatever. It is a scapegoating thing. It is the Cardinals front office sucking. And the people who are helping the Cardinals front office with this message, the only people that are helping them are Cubs fans, which is trash.
So let's kind of go this route. First off, Sarah and I saw each other. We were at the game Monday night. I was with Stuart McVicker from Club 400 and Sarah was down there. And I think, Sarah, we all agreed that we love Wilson as a player, as a person, for his contributions to Chicago. No doubt about that. And I guess what I was saying in that clip is that, you know, anyone that's watched sports knows that it is so hard to follow in the foot of a legend. And in St. Louis, that's what Yadi's considered, whether we want to say that or not. That's what it is. And so every time, every ball that gets past him, Yadi would have had that. Every pitch that isn't called.
Cardinals fans are not saying this, Crawley. Cubs fans are saying this. Exactly. This is what is so bonkers about this entire situation. Because what is happening, like, Saris, who I think is one of the smartest baseball analysts out there, started, I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday's episode of Rates and Barrels with a 10-minute hit on catcher stats, how catchers impact the game, how they impact run scoring, all of it. And he went through this whole thing about, like, frankly, like, catcher pitcher ERA is not a thing. And I hate when people bring this up because it's just like there's way too many variables about it. It's not a real stat, which is why nobody reports on any catcher's ERA except when they're trying to cherry pick data. But that's neither here nor there. The stats that do exist for catchers and the catchers who have been greatest at doing these things, like, does this whole rundown. And the guy he highlights, and it makes perfect sense, is AJ Ellis, who was Clayton Kershaw's personal catcher for a really long time. And he talks about how Ellis was like this dude who had catcher run saved, or whatever he called it, like the most epic numbers of all time. And do you know how many wins that added up to at the very end of the day when you looked at all of AJ Ellis's numbers? 1 win over the course of an entire season. So my point is that Cubs fans are doing the Cardinals front office's bidding out here, acting like, yeah, that's right. It's because Jed was so smart to let Wilson go, and Jan is such a much better catcher, and Wilson's responsible for the fact that Jack Flaherty's fastball is 87 miles per hour in the 4th inning, and he's walked 5 guys. Like, Jack Flaherty was bad with Kinsler behind the plate. Jordan Montgomery was bad with Kinsler behind the plate. Michaelis was not good with Kinsler behind the plate. The Cardinals pitching staff is trash. Like, this does not have anything to do with Wilson Contreras. And it's like one of those situations where it is just wild to me, because the national media is like, Wilson's being scapegoated. The Cardinals fans are like, Wilson's being scapegoated. The Cardinals front office is trying to backtrack, and Cubs fans are like, yes, we agree with the Cardinals front office. So keep doing Mazalek's bidding for him.
Let me just kind of put this in here, Sarah. Number one, I know how you are on Twitter. I know how I am on Twitter. I don't follow idiots. I don't follow people that I think are moronic. So if I follow you, take that as a compliment. But I think that the people that you're listening to that are Cardinals fans are probably the smart, intelligent Cardinals fans. But what you're not hearing is the toothless meth heads who are pissed off at Wilson Contreras.
True,
so you're not getting
heads.
that angle of it.
Okay, I'm gonna back up Sarah on this, because I went into Gould. What's his name?
Derek Gould.
Derek Gould's a great example.
Because I was like, okay, look, if I want to find a TFC dealing with Wilson Contreras, I need to go into Derek Gould's Twitter and look and find it. And honestly, there was 90% of the people who were in there were actually saying, no, this is bullshit. They are scapegoating Wilson and talking about how he's being a class act by not making a fuss over being demoted from catching and only doing DH.
Well, and they just
I was surprised by it, but I put it in, and anybody who is a Patreon supporter would have seen this. I actually wrote about it on the Discord because I was surprised to see that.
Well, and it is kind of crazy because you do think that to me, the crazy thing is that what is the front office of the St. Louis Cardinals motives in this situation? Because they just did this with Paul O'Neill too. Remember, they were like,
Tyler O'Neill,
Tyler O'Neill, yeah. Paul O'Neill. Like,
Paul O'Neill, I know he played in the 90s for the Yankees. Right?
How old am I? 49. Jesus. But Paul O'Neill, to me on that play, I was like, it kind of looked like he hustled. Like, it looked fine. He was just out. Like, nothing looked weird to me on that play. And they're like, Paul O'Neill, Cardinal way. What are you doing? Get out of here, Canadian. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand. I do have a theory as to why they don't like Wilson. And they're just trying to hide him a little bit right now. And it's because of what he did the other night at Wrigley Field in his Ronald McDonald gloves. But he brought this sign out on the second base. He hit a double, and it's this giant sign he was holding says, "I wanked to Mia Khalifa." And I don't know why he did it. He must have done it just to as a joke to Cubs fans. But here's the other thing. Can we talk about this? Do not boo Wilson Contreras, you moronic Cub fans. It's the same as we've learned this the hard way. Ryan Braun is the prime example. Don't boo Ryan Braun, even though Crawley's like the king booer of Ryan Braun. But don't boo him. Makes him stronger. He's going to hit a game-winning walk-off home run. Don't boo Wilson. He will he will single-handedly beat you with 2 Ronald McDonald gloves tied behind
you go take a look last year at what a bad year Javi Baez had. And when he was his best? When he was on the south side of Chicago and they were booing the shit out of him, and that guy single-handedly won games last year. Same kind of mentality.
By the way, Javi Baez was not that bad last year. He was in the second half. He was better offensively than Nico Horner, and I don't ever hear anybody talking shit about Nico Horner.
Well, I think I loved what Sarah just said about cherry picking stats, and I think we all do that to some extent, to try to prove something that we thought might be the case. But I almost love when I think that something's the case. For example, the Cubs, did they not roll into 69 double plays during this homestand? Every time the bases was loaded, they hit into a double play, right? So they must be leading the league in hitting into double plays. They are not. It's just one of those things that you feel like is happening because it's happening at terrible times.
Oh, you remember when we found out that Jason Hayward only hit into 6 double plays in the entire season, and we were like, how is that possible?
By the way, Javi Baez on a burner right now after a slow start in March and April where he had a WRC plus of 63. In May, his WRC plus was 180. And so far in May, he's slashing 314, 400, 600. But more impressive than that, for the season, he is only striking out 17.4% of the time. So Javi on a burner. Look at Danny's face on that strikeout number.
Yeah, last year he had a slow start and then he got injured. And so it took him a while to get caught up. But in the second half, he wasn't, amazing. He wasn't a superstar, but he had a good second half of the season. So every time somebody says, Javi was terrible all year, he was not terrible all year.
I love this.
He had a rough start.
Bill Sugas in the chat here. I never let the facts get in the way of a feeling.
but let's go back to Wilson, and this is what I said when I said what I said in December. It's very simple: is that he was walking into a bad situation, and you could feel it a mile away. It was whether you want to blame the front office, you want to blame the manager, you want to blame the pitchers. All I could tell you is if I was the agent, if I was sitting next to Wilson, now if you want the money and just the money, and that's all that matters. Whoever's the highest bidder, then go for it. But how passionate Wilson is. You know how proud of a guy he is. And I'm impressed with how well he took that demotion. I thought that showed some maturity. But again, the second it went off, anything went off the rails, I knew he was going to get blamed for it because Yachty would have done better. And that's where it was just a mistake for him to go there.
Yeah, but the surprise was because it seemed like that last time with like the Dexter Fowler situation, it seemed like that it was the fans that came after Dexter. This time it's the front office, and it's just weird. Well, this was, this week, we haven't done a show all week. It was a 500 week. You win 2 or 3 from the Marlins, and then you lose 2 or 3 to the Cardinals, which is pretty disheartening considering the start that they had to the year. But it was kind of something I expected to happen. We had the balk-off loss this week. That was a little messed up. You had we got beat by Wilson single-handedly, and when Stroh got no run support yet once again, because Cubs just hate scoring when Marcus Stroman is pitching. And then there was the game in which Assad got left out there in the 9th after pitching really great. And what did he get for his efforts? Sent back to AAA after 5.1 innings, and the first 5 innings were great. He even got a strikeout after giving up the game, the go-ahead run in the 9th inning there. But these losses were kind of heartbreaking. A lot of runners left on, just not coming through with the big hit.
Again, you were talking about the bases loaded into the double play. I mean, and it wasn't – there were just this week, I think there was at least 5 different times we had – bases loaded and did not bring anybody in those situations. It was ridiculous.
And it was the 3. Wow. It was Suzuki too, just over and over and over again, just having some trouble.
And Hosmer, every time that Eric Hosmer comes to the plate with the bases loaded, I die a little inside.
Well, I'm just wondering. So this is what bothers me, I guess, is you're talking about Ross. I was mad mad at that night, that Assad game where he left him in. He was clearly out of gas in the 8th inning, and then he rolls him off the 9th. I think Joe Sheehan wrote, I think this is off-label use for Assad or something. Like it was just like, so like everyone's like, what are you doing? Putting Hosmer up at the 6th spot? Like he shouldn't be getting at bats, and he's batting 6th. And then when Morel came up, Morel's your future shortstop. I mean, third baseman. Morel's your future third baseman. Why would you have Madrigal at 3rd and Morel at 2nd? None of this shit makes sense.
My freaking mind.
Jesus Christ.
Horner gets hurt, so he's out, and you bring up Morel, and everybody in the entire planet went, oh, well, Madrigal's going to be a 2nd, and Morel's going to split time with Wisdom. That makes total sense. And then that first lineup, and he's on 2nd, and you're like, wait a second, what are you doing? He's got like a cannon for an arm, and they put him 4 feet from first base. Like, what are you doing?
And not only that, I think in the 9th inning on Monday night when Sarah and I were there, he pitch hit Hosmer instead of Morel.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unbelievable. And it's one of these situations where I was writing a piece today that was kind of looking at where the Cubs are at after 37 games. It's pretty darn close to 40. And we had the off day to kind of do a quarter look at the Cubs. Right. And frankly, they're a team that is slightly under 500, and they're slightly under 500. And their run differential is great. And by run differential and Pythag, they should be doing better and whatever, but they are not. And there are reasons they are not. And it is some combination of roster construction, roster management, lineup construction, lineup management, bullpen construction, and bullpen management. I don't know who you want to put that on. Some of that is on the front office, some of that is on David Ross, some of that is, but these decisions where you bring up Matt Mervis because you recognize that first base has been a black hole and DH has been a black hole for the team. And so Matt Mervis is here to try and fix that. And then you put in the lineup Eric Hosmer in between Matt Mervis and Christopher Morel and all of the hitters at the top. That is yeah. I don't have words. I am speechless.
Well, and you're talking about Morel, and he's done nothing, and he's the one that we wanted up first. He's the one that we were like, why is he not breaking with the team? Because he had a absolutely smoking spring. And here's what he's done so far in Chicago since he's been up. He's got only 8 plate appearances, but he's got hits in 4 of
Ted
them.
Williams.
Yeah, he's got a double and a home run. He's batting .500. I mean, it's totally small sample size. It's been 2 games, which also doesn't make sense because the Cubs played 3 games, and he should have been in all 3 of them because he's incredible. Meanwhile, at Iowa, there's nothing for him left to prove. He had 11 home runs already in only 29 games. But more than
nothing
once
to get a
every 3
rookie
games.
benched on the Cubs, like just playing well.
No, or like Velasquez, like you come up, hit a bunch of home runs, have an off week, you're gone. See ya. But he's having a heck of a week. Mervis came up, a lot of roster changes, because you mentioned Mervis up, little slower of a start. He only has 4 hits and 21 at bats, but and quite a few strikeouts. But I think we're all ready to see what happens with this.
Watch him this weekend though, because it's all righties this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got to get his feet wet. I mean, some guys are a little slower. You're going to give it a second. Amaya came up, got a taste of everything. Did not look overmatched. Here's what he did with the big club this time. Just great. He batted not great, but .231, 313, no slug at all, just base hits. But he was out there as a catcher, and you know what? You didn't notice anything. You didn't notice anything going wrong.
He got a lot of praise from Hayden Wisniewski the other day, saying how he basically just let Amaya call the entire game, didn't shake him off.
Well, 2 things about go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, just as a backstop, like we've seen a couple of times this season where, the ball does get away, and I didn't see that at all with him. Like he just, he's younger and he moves better, of course, but yeah, he's got everything he needs back there, I think.
And he's not that young.
2 things about Miguel Amaya. One is that it's really impressive that he came up from AA, just started working with the major league staff, and it was pretty seamless. Like that is one of the more impressive things that I've ever seen from any Cubs call up straight from AA. And there's only been a handful of them, right? Like Christopher Morel came straight up from AA. Nico Horner came straight up from AA, but I think we would all agree that Miguel Amaya had a much harder job than either of those dudes, and he did an awesome job. The second thing I'll say is, Danny, you mentioned there was no slug. There was some exit velo though. He made a lot of loud contact for outs. I think the first 5 batted balls Miguel Amaya hit were all over 100 miles per hour, which to me says that at some point that's going to fall for a double. That's going to fall.
It's the Babbitt gods.
Yeah, that's bad luck.
Yeah, he got robbed on a number of those hits, like things that looked like doubles off the bat, and then somebody's just snagging that thing out.
Hey, Danny, can you put up that Bill Sugar's comment at the bottom? Because I was going to say too, man, that impressed the hell out of me about Mervis. There's a few times
killer defense
where
after Mervis, yeah,
right, where I had a few drinks and my eyes kind of went down. I looked, is that Rizzo? And I was just so impressed with. I guess we all have been so focused on the home runs and the mash and all that stuff. You don't realize, man, that guy's got good hands. To me right now, he's the best fielding first baseman right now that the Cubs have on the roster.
There's a lot of comps. There's a lot of comps between him and Rizzo. And that's why I remember that time when we got Rizzo in 2012, 2013, and he didn't hit at all. Like he batted like 200 that year with Starlin Castro, no support in the lineup. This time's a little bit different lineup construction. But yeah, no, he looks the part. And I like what David Elliott says here in the chat too. The front office wants to be able to dangle Madrigal at third base for trades, and Ross does their bidding. I do think that there is some of that going on. With Bellinger, I think there's a lot of that going on. This is not a serious baseball team that's trying to win this year. It's all about getting it to next year.
The Bellinger comment is really interesting because Cody Bellinger is one of the dudes that has overperformed and has actually done exactly what the Cubs were hoping he would do when they signed him to this 1-year transitional type of deal. And that puts them in a really awkward position because for this team to continue to attempt to be a 500 team, they need that version of Cody Bellinger in center field. And they need him there for the duration of the season. Pete Crow Armstrong is not coming up to play center field for the Cubs at any point in time during the season. Probably the dudes that would play center field if Bellinger were traded would be Christopher Morel or Nelson Velasquez. And we saw what that looked like last year defensively. I mean, it wasn't all that great. But you can't do anything with Cody Bellinger. The Cubs are not going to extend Cody Bellinger. He's got Scott Boras for an agent. He wants a long-term, huge deal.
Oh,
that
but,
is,
but
and that for the Cubs to benefit from this signing, they basically need to flip him at the deadline unless they're in first place. Like that's it.
But they are, putting it out there. I think I saw just the other day them talking about how, we'd love to have Bellinger around here for a long time.
Oh yeah, it's lip service.
Hey,
Lip
you know
service,
what
yeah.
though? At least they're doing that part right, because we have seen over these last few years where they're like, nah, we fucking hate this guy. We're gonna get rid of him no matter what.
Yeah. Wilson Contreras, what a bum. Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you want to trade us for him?
So we're gonna have
Like,
to
at
take.
least
Can I
bump
just say,
your guys up if you're gonna trade him.
I'm going to disagree. You think any front office is really going to be fooled and have the wool pulled over their eyes at Nick Madrigal's the third baseman that you're going to get anything more than a bag of balls for?
I agree with you on that.
I'm talking about Bellinger.
No,
Fucking
I was just talking about the
nothing,
comment on
man.
Madrigal. Like, there's no way the front office. You can say whatever you want about Jed and Carter, or whatever you want to say. Nobody thinks that anybody is pounding the door to get Nick Madrigal.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're not putting him at second base when they have the opportunity to showcase him as a second baseman, because
nobody needs a
Warner's
second
healthy,
baseman, because that's where you put the guy who's not very good. You put outfielders at second base. They don't care.
But he's not fucking very good.
Daniel Murphy as a statue is a second baseman. Like, no, it doesn't matter. But we got to take a quick commercial break, and we'll argue about it on the other half. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Sunranto. It's $1 a month. And if you do it, you get private Discord channel permissions. And at that point, you can hang out with us tonight and watch the game. And we will be right back. All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sunranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Rockett's family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys one beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Sun Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Sun Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Sun Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sunranto. That's patreon.com/sunranto. And become a super ranter today. If you like the Cubs a bunch, buy your t-shirts from In the Clutch. We've got all the best styles for you. Dansby, Saya, Morel too. Clark Fly in his double U. Cody Bellinger, smoking dupes. Vintage shirts from days of old. Patrick Wisdom and Nico. You'll look sharp wearing your stro. 10% off with the code SONRANTO. SONRANTO. InTheClutch.com is your store for the most fun baseball shirts on the planet. Don't forget to use promo code SUNRANTO to knock a couple bucks off your purchase. Stack or die, we need more cups. Get it all at In The Clutch. Cause if you like the Cubs a bunch, buy t-shirts from In The Clutch. Get it all at In The Clutch. Get it all at In The Clutch. Welcome back to the Sun Ranto Show. I see that Michael Cotton is wearing his In the Clutch t-shirts. We were all, because now they are a sponsor of this show, and they are sponsoring the weather report. They're sending us a few t-shirts. So you got your Shy Feds on, Michael. That thing's awesome. And check it. Crawley, I had this one specially made. The reason I chose this one is because it's got the name of your podcast, the Fly the W podcast. It's got Clark there, and let me just move out of the way so you can.
I thought that microphone was right there on purpose.
No, yeah, I probably should use the microphone there. It's a little black dot, but like, check out. This is Clark fully intact, as you can see.
I can't believe you guys that they haven't lost their marketing privileges on that one. Their trademark privileges.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll get away with it until we don't. So, shop it in the clutch. Use promo code Sunranto for 10% off. We could continue our conversation, but I'd like to do it within the context of rakes, flakes, throws, and blows, where we talk about the most recent performance of some of our favorite Cubs players and least favorite Cubs players, as the case may be. And we're also going to do the Twins, because we're playing the Twins in 20 minutes, and we're going to all hang out at the Discord and watch. So
today I'm going to show you how to rake.
I'm going to try and roll through these as quickly as possible. But yeah, this is a head-to-head edition. Holy crap, the Twins are bad. They really are not good. They're
in first place.
Yeah, but their top hitter has a 658 OPS.
Doesn't matter. We're number one in every single category, and we're in third.
Okay. Well, look,
stats
Sarah,
are meaningless.
You talk about analytics and all these numbers and how the fucking wins and losses never have any place in the world. And then I say they're bad because over the last week, they have all hit like shit.
Yeah, you wouldn't want any Twins on your fantasy team.
At the plate. It doesn't matter. And now all of a sudden wins and losses do count. Come on.
Wins and losses are actually the only stat that truly counts. But I think you are correct that the Twins hitting is kind of anemic, but the Twins pitching is really good, which is one of the reasons that their hitting can suck and they can still be in first place.
Right.
That's what
also
gets you
in a terrible division.
That's what gets you nervous is these teams.
So are we, though.
The Cubs and the Twins are kind of like mirror images of each other in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I felt that way about
they have better pitching.
I felt that way about playing the Marlins. Like, I feel like the Marlins are the Twins of the
it's like that Spider-Man meme where everybody's pointing at each other.
Yeah.
Did you all see the picture? And I wish I had screenshot it and sent it to Danny so he could share with everybody. But somebody took a screenshot of the AL East standings blending into the AL Central standings, and every team in the AL East would be in first place in the AL Central, including the last place Yankees, except because they're in the East, the Yankees are in last place, and the Twins are in first place, even though they would be in like sixth place if they played in the East.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, exactly. All right, Michael, who rakes anybody rake on this Twinkie team?
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like Max Kepler, the Twins right fielder, has a 658 OPS on 3 hits this week. And I had to cut this off. They played 5 games, 15 plate appearances was my cutoff. I didn't go below that. And
this is just for the week.
Yeah. Right, just for the week.
Who's coming in hot? Yeah.
But Kepler has 2 home runs in his 3 hits, and that's the only reason he's leading this team. He also has a walk. Alex Kirilloff actually has an OPS that is 200 points higher than Kepler, but that's because he's walked 6 times and he's got 4 singles.
Did you say
and
Boris Karloff?
I'm gonna give the rake to the guy hitting dongs if he's getting hits.
Yeah, so watch out for Max Kepler, or don't, because I think it's opposite. Now Max Kepler's going to cool off. That's 658. That's got to be one of the lowest rakers of all time.
Oh yeah,
658.
I've never seen that number in 1 week and been like, this is the best hitter on the team.
Oh no, they're going to come. They're going to come in. I don't know. Have they been at home? Have they been playing? I think they did.
Okay, so the Cubs raker this week. Dansby Swanson with 7 hits, including 1 dong and 3 walks. He has struck out twice as much as Kepler, but he's over 400 points higher in OPS with a 1082. That's what I normally see when I'm looking at OPS over a week. And the rakers are usually over the 1,000 mark. And then I want to shout out to Bellinger with the 666 OPS this week.
Did you see that stat with Dansby where he had 6 extra base hits in his last 3 games, 5 doubles and a homer, and he joins Ernie Banks as just the second Cubs shortstop in the modern era to have 6 extra base hits in a 3-game span. That's crazy.
I was talking with a Braves fan just the other night, and she said that he's one of the streakiest players that she's ever witnessed in her life. And so I think maybe we're seeing that.
We're seeing it a little bit. We have seen him kind of go dead a couple of times, but it seems to only last maybe like 2 to 3 games, and he comes back and he hits like this for a little while.
It only lasts when his wife gets hurt.
And I can tell you, man, I mean, I knew his defense was good, but seeing it on a daily basis, Sarah, you were at the game. That ball that Wilson hit, I think, was 117 miles per hour off the bat, and he makes the play. I'm like, holy cow. I mean, it was just an absolutely amazing play.
Yeah, we haven't seen
Dansby's been a great defender. So is Nico. The up the middle defense for the Cubs is really good.
Yeah, we should mention Nico did go to the IL today. And in his place,
fucking time,
up comes Mr. Boner. Mr. Happy birthday to me. Here's your least favorite player, Danny.
I'm just glad that they put Horner on the IL. Like, what? I don't understand this fucking fascination that the Cubs have with the day-to-day. Like, why play short when literally one of your star players comes up a little bit lame? Why don't you just put him on the 10-day and get through that without him and let him come back and be fucking like healthy versus babying him for the next like 4 weeks or some shit, and then maybe he gets hurt, maybe he doesn't, maybe like just fucking
there must be some philosophy like if after 3 days it's not better, then you're going on the 10-day, that kind of thing. But it's
just stupid to not have that guy on your bench because he's hurt.
I think it's a combination of those things, but I also think it's that in this instance, they didn't want to put Nico on the IL until they were sure Christopher Morel could just play every day and it would be fine. And so Morel coming up and being kind of on a burner helps them give Nico 10 days off, right? Because it's like, oh, okay, we feel pretty good that Christopher Morel can cover what Nico was doing at second while we wait.
I like what David Elliott says in the chat. We brought up a right fielder to fill in for Nico. Well, maybe a little public service announcement, but Mr. Boner does not play right field. He does on the Cubs sometimes.
The same way Madrigal's a third baseman on the Cubs.
Yeah.
Nick Madrigal is not a third baseman. Every time that dude like revs up to throw across the diamond, he has to like run. He has to like get a running start to throw the baseball across the diamond.
I've been saying it looks like Fred Flintstone driving his car.
Yeah, right here. Terry E says most guys crow hop before making a throw from third base. Madrigal does wind sprints.
No ice detected.
Let's do a flakes because we only have 13 minutes before this game starts, so we gotta like run through the end of this show. We got a chance to give away hashtag chance in the chat. So here's your.
I haven't worried about flakes since my grunge days. Remember them?
Like I honestly wanted to put Max Kepler on both rakes and flakes, but there's somebody worse, a lot worse. Byron Buxton. He has no hits. He has 4 walks in 17 at bats for a 227 OPS, which is also his OBP because the only time he gets on base is when he's walked. And by the way, that's their DH.
Out of curiosity,
that's
Michael,
what the fucking DH is for. The guy that's hitting 227. Way to go with that fucking idea.
Michael, somebody said that Correa was hot. I know he did good the last game, but I didn't see those numbers of him being hot.
Correa, and I'll put up all the Twins
I don't think
here.
You got to cut these things off at a certain point, right? Because some, and so I had like 15 plate appearances, and I don't think he had that many, or else he was just stuck right in the middle.
Well, and what I'm putting up now is the season numbers, and Carlos Correa has been a huge disappointment in Minnesota. So
he was getting booed the other day till he got the game-winning hit.
He's batting 191. I mean, that's pretty brutal. 646 OPS, only 5 dongs. Like you were looking for more.
So Carlos Correa in his last 20 plate appearances has 2 hits. So
and when you're
so maybe that's why I just didn't notice. Like That's better than Byron Buxton.
I apologize. 3 hits, but yes, he is better than Byron Buxton.
Yeah, amazing. Well, yeah, that's just a pretty anemic offense,
and yet not as good as Max Kepler. That's where we're at.
Well,
that's how bad this team's hitting right now.
Who's your Cubs flaker on the week?
The rookie. He gets the Cubs flaker. Mash, not quite mashing yet. He's got 3 hits and a walk, but he struck out 6 times. And all those hits were singles. So he gets no extra power points. Paltry 398 OPS. So
yeah, it's not pretty slow start.
It honestly doesn't bug me. Like it doesn't, because he is a rookie and he's up there for the first time. And that's a guy that I can watch and just be like, yeah, he's probably going to come around and get better than this. And it's just it's when you got Hosmer, it's like, oh, he's been playing for fucking 10 years, and if he doesn't he's not getting better.
If he doesn't send him down.
Somebody, I don't know if someone in the chat can look this up or remember off the top of their head. I think Sandberg went something like 0 for 35 or something when he started.
Yeah, it happens. He could absolutely go on a total tear, like once he adjusts. All right, how about a throw? Throw up my hands to the Lord.
God, I haven't missed that song.
This should be going to Pablo Lopez because he had the most impressive stat line out of the starters this week, but we're not going to be seeing him. So I'm going with Louis Varland, who the Cubs might face in Sunday's game. He's the probable starter. He had 8 strikeouts in 6.1 innings and only gave up 2 hits in his last start. So unfortunately, one of those hits was a home run, and he also walked 4. So
they got some good young pitching. Sarah and I were talking about a couple of Cubby Blue. The next 2 starters, or not the next 2, not tonight. Tonight, Sonny Gray, who's absolutely doing marvelously.
We'll talk about that. He's got like a 1.35 ERA,
and then
and he's our blows.
But Joe Ryan and Louis Varland both.
Yeah, I actually think the Cubs are going to have some trouble with Joe Ryan. That fastball is really tricky, and he pairs it with a couple of secondaries that used to be weaker pitches for him, but aren't anymore. And I'm very curious to see how the Cubs deal with that fastball, because it's not a normal pitch, and most of them haven't seen a lot of it.
Yeah, they got some throwers. Were you done with the Twins throws? How about the Cubs ones?
Yeah, the Wes. I liked what he did. He had 1 start this week, 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, did not walk anybody in that outing. The only bad spot was the solo shot that he gave up. And then in the bullpen, I'm giving this to Adbert Alzolay. 4 innings in 2 games, and one of those was for a save. I really kind of like him.
They need to use him
a
more.
Closer.
They need to use him more, and they need to bring up what's his name from the minors that was up for 5 seconds.
Jeremiah Estrada. Jeremiah Estrada. I was so pissed at, once again, I think Sarah brought up bullpen management. They basically put him in a couple times in just like garbage time. They brought him in that 13-0 win against the Dodgers in the 8th inning, and then they used him another time when it was when Keegan Thompson had already blown a save or gave up the lead, whatever. But why not see what you got here? I didn't understand that at all. There's guys that I'm looking at the minors.
You can say that for the whole lineup.
But when you called Jeremiah Estrada up, the whole bullpen was giving up everything. Why not try the guy? That was that awful road trip where they lost a bunch of games because of the bullpen and because of runners in scoring position. But why not try this guy? You're talking about a guy that throws pretty good heat as far as Jeremiah Estrada. He's got good stuff. I'm telling you, Estrada, Cam Sanders, Nick Birdie, the arms in Iowa, I think, are better than some of the arms here, to be honest with you. Now, some of those guys are still working on some control issues. But like I said, if you got Jeremiah Estrada and he's up, use him in a situation to see how he handles a situation that's high leverage.
Oh, why don't we hit the blows here? Because I'm going to talk about Fulmer, a guy who doesn't handle high leverage.
Q Fulmer.
You just put your lips together and blow.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're going to go with the Cubs, the blower is clearly Jameson Tyone on the starting side, 2.2 innings, gave up 2 home runs. He did strike out 5, but he also walked 2 in that short outing. He just hasn't looked right since he's come back from the groin issue. Like, what did he get? 3.1 last time and then 2.2 this time. So I don't know if he's fully right. And then bullpen, Boxberger and Fulmer both had almost identical bad stat lines in 3 innings over 3 games. I feel like Fulmer is explosively bad. Like when he's bad, he's so bad that it's like you just want to turn the TV off. And Boxberger, who is actually worse on the season, seems to just be sort of bad, but every single time. Like Fulmer can have a shutdown game and then give up 4, whereas Boxberger seems to just sort of always not be good. So I don't know. Maybe I am not seeing
either one of them are doing great. And what's kind of surprising is that for the last few years, if you think of like your Andrew Chafins or what they did with David Robertson last year, the Cubs have been able to, get these kind of scrap heap dudes, not scrap heap, but, people with talent and that, have that nobody else wanted. They were able to sign these guys, get them to do elite things, and then flip them for more depth, more, get younger. And this year, they have not been able to do that with anybody. Either one of those guys.
You're talking about Chafin, you're talking about Efros, you're talking about Robertson. All those guys were just flipped, and you got something.
But they won't give up on Boxberger and Fulmer and these guys when they do have guys like you're saying, like Estrada, that they won't even give a chance, or
this whole team's like that.
Yeah.
The position players are like that too. Like this guy was a first rounder, so we're going to put him at third base. We're going to get him in the lineup no matter what. Like meanwhile, there's plenty of places for Mervis to play because he plays every position. Oh no, he needs at bats. Well, he could get him in the major league level. He plays everywhere. He plays third, plays second, can play short, can play corner outfield.
They also have
a pitch if you want him to.
They also have this thing that I was told was going to be the best thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. It's called a fucking DH.
Yeah, forgot
and even if you don't have a spot on the field for a player, you have a spot in the lineup for him.
Yeah. Well,
ask the Twins. Byron Buxton's 227 fucking bullshit.
Better than
exactly
a pitcher.
Why you have the DH? Why not give that to Mervis?
Better than a pitcher.
Hey, Danny, real quick, can you put up that Bill Sugar?
It's like the same.
Can you put on that Bill Sugar's comment right there? I don't know if people know this, but the game tonight is on Apple TV. And I know people are going.
Danny's like, let's do a game watch on a game nobody can see.
Yeah.
Well, and I know Sarah's going to put the thumbs down, but that is a cool feature if you've watched it on Apple TV is you can change to home or away announcers. And the other thing is the picture is in 4K. So if your TV's up for it, man, it is like unbelievable how good you're sitting there and you're looking at Marquee and being like, guys, what are you doing? You need to get up you need to be able to be at 1080. You got to be at 4K.
You saw Michael Cerami's article on Bleacher Nation.
Yep. He's on the latest Fly the W, and we absolutely talked about that 100%. And he talked about, it is 720 is what Marquis pulling right there. And right now, if you're watching the game on Apple, it's at 4K. It's actually at 4K, which is amazing.
To be fair, Crawley, Marquis spends so much time showing Shambi that I don't want 4K. I don't even know if I want 720. You can fucking back me up to 480 and I'm going to be goddamn happy because half the game is Shambi's dumb fucking face over in the corner or taking up half the shit. So who gives a fuck? Like if you can't figure out what to put on the screen, who cares if it's clear?
I'm just what I'm telling you though is if you have the opportunity to watch the Apple TV, that Apple TV paired with the Pat and Ron, my God, it is glorious.
I will not be adding streaming services for 2 or 3 baseball games a year. So Apple TV, Peacock, Prime, whatever you want to do, I'm out. Like, I'm just like, if I have your streaming service already for something else and it has Cubs games on it, I will watch that. But I will not be adding any streaming services solely for Cubs games. I find it absolutely ridiculous that they are pulling off like 2 games here and 2 games here and 3 games here and 4 games there so that fans just literally cannot follow the team all season long unless they are willing to have cable and have Apple and have Peacock and have whatever the hell else MLB has decided to sell 15 games to.
I thought you would be a big fan of Ted Lasso.
I'm not adding Apple TV for one TV show either. Like, I just am not. I don't have Disney Plus. I don't have Apple TV. I have Netflix. Netflix is great. Like, and I have Hulu, and I'll watch what's on those.
Well, I will say this much. I have it in even worse quality right now in the Discord that you can come and hang out. And this game's going to start in literally 20 minutes. So I think we should probably... no, sorry, 1 minute. Yeah.
1 minute.
1 minute, 20 minutes,
no,
you know.
1 minute.
Listen, time is a round circle. I don't know what that means. So I can say this much, though. I do like our chances.
Time is a thing that is exactly just that thing.
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
Hey, Danny, do you still forget to do the chants? Because I see Pink is reminding. I just want to make sure.
I do usually forget to do the chants. Yes, I do.
Okay, I didn't know if that changed or not.
But I did want to get some announcements in there before we pinch this off and do the chants. I was going to do a bitch clock, but I'll save it. I'll save it for next time.
Yeah, we don't have time on this show. Like, we don't even know what to do with ourselves trying to be done in an hour.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're only halfway through, but we're going to be spending all the rest of our time.
Get started. They have no idea how hard we're working on this.
I'll bitch clock over on the Discord. So I do want to say this, though. It is because it's my birthday and we're all hanging out. I wanted to share a link to my birthday fundraiser, and it's for Trapdoor Theater. And it's just how we survive. Like, literally, non-for-profit theaters survive off of donations, and they survive off of grants. The ticket price basically goes to pay the electric bill. Is kind of how it works. And so we could really use your help. I have a goal of $500, which I was just about to hit. Maybe I've hit it. I'm not sure, but I would like to go over it. I'd also like to wish happy birthday to a couple more people that have their birthdays this week. Tomorrow, Mr. John Benedict, the Cubs Wrigley Field organist and the guy who let my mom play organ at Wrigley Field. A memory that my family will always cherish. And happy birthday, John. What is he, 15, 16?
Yeah, I think he's getting his driver's license.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations, John. You can drug drive me around. Also, Margot Anderson from the calendar, Rob LaFrance, his birthday is coming up, and Erin Moran down in Puerto Rico. It's her birthday. I'm going to share the Trapdoor Theater's Bowie in Warsaw is our next show. It's very cool. I hope you guys can come see it. Here's the flyer for it. It's by Dorota Maslowska, and it's a weird little play about this Polish family and a fictional or possibly real visit that David Bowie took to Warsaw. It was only one day back in the communist days. Our next show is going to be something exactly like this because of the Bowie in Warsaw show that's going on, which is a game watch next Friday at 5. We'll have a pregame at 5 p.m. and we'll hang out and have another party. Also, at Cafe Tola, Sandra Marchetti is reading her poem, and that's going to be on Saturday, May 27th. There is also a link to that. There's a Facebook invite. I'm going to be playing a couple songs at that. There, as you can see from the graphic here, there are empanadas going to be available and a raffle, which we're going to have soon on this show. We're going to have a chance.
I love empanadas.
Yeah, and I love how excited Danny is about the empanadas.
It's really, I like the empanadas more than the fact that I'm playing this thing.
So we'll play for empanadas.
Dude, I played for way less than empanadas. Let me tell you. Also, the Bleacher Bum Band, where I will be playing actually for less than empanadas, which will be on June 17th. We're working on Nisei Lounge. They're working on a cabaret license. So we're seeing how that's all going to go. That meeting should be this week. Anyway, that's where we're planning it. Nisei Lounge. Either way, the CD's coming out June 17th. And we're going to play somewhere, even if it's in Stuart McVicker's living room. We'll figure it out. And become a Patreon member, patreon.com/Sunranto, and you can join us on the Discord tonight. I do have, I'll just say one TFC that I have. Do you have one, or am I the only one with one?
No, I do have one.
Okay. Well, here it goes. So Chicago Cubs tweeted out, did you find love at Wrigley Field? And then little heart emoji with hands. Let us know. And 39% had actually found love at Wrigley Field, which was kind of a shock, that, I mean, I kind of did. So, I mean, I guess I thought I was part of the dumb fucking 15%, but apparently I'm part of the in love 39%. And so anyway, somebody responded to Ad Cubs about searching for love at Wrigley Field. Retired Crack said, Wrigley bathroom circle jerk. And Kyle said, into the giant tin urinal. And that evoked such an image that I cannot forget.
It really does.
Yeah.
Over my toilet in the clubhouse down here, there's a Will Bivington picture of a black and white old school trough from Wrigley.
Oh, nice.
It's beautiful.
Can I sign it and pee?
Please don't.
So I think we're going to be getting a new ranter here very soon. Hajir says, if the Warriors lose tonight, I unfollow everyone on NBA Twitter, block FS1, Undisputed, mute the words Nick Wright and Skip Bayless, and go back to tweets about Chicago, some politics, and random shit. How are the Cubs doing? This might become a baseball account.
Oh, no.
So somebody very upset about the Warriors and will probably be on the Discord next week.
So, Sarah, thanks as always for coming on. Crawley, thanks for coming on. I'm going to forget to do the chants. No, just kidding. I will do the chants. I will share my screen. Let's get it going. Hashtag chants in the chat. It's your last chance to win the chance. And you should come over and hang out with us on Discord. I'm going to order a pizza and you can hear me eat it. Here we go.
Ian Happ is on first base with 2 outs.
All right.
There we go.
Let's do a little play-by-play. All right, here we go. Hashtag chants in the chat. Last chance. Some
all-stars in this lineup.
Yeah, Bernie Barron's at this game, actually. And the winner is Artie. Mr. Fourth Row, Artie Boucher. Congratulations. You've won in the past, and you've won again. So, awesome show. It does feel like it was so short. Our time together was so short tonight. But we'll see you over on the Discord. Come hang out, and I guess there's nothing to say but Spagog at this point.
Happy Spagog Day.
Thank you. Happy Spagog Day.
Happy birthday, Danny.
Happy birthday, Danny.
There is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach you? There is no fighting in the bleachers. So take that shit outside. There is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach you? There is no fighting in the bleachers. So take that shit outside. You can get a suntan drink until you're drunk and rooting for the Cubs and acting like a punk and watch 'em hit and run and having lots of fun and show 'em all your love and celebrate and suffering. But you cannot fight. Don't care who you don't like. Let's all have fun tonight. There is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach you? There is no fighting in the bleachers. So take that shit outside. There is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach you? There is no fighting in the bleachers. So take that shit outside. You can catch a ball and scream about a goal and be right on the wall and be into a drop and you can buy a dog and sing a couple songs but just keep on a walking if you're in a rolling. No, you cannot fight. Don't care who you don't like. Let's all have fun tonight. There is no fighting in the bleachers. What did your mama teach you? There is no fighting in the bleachers. So take that shit out. No fighting in the bleachers.